In this problem, we want to get into some geometry here. It says the circumference of a circle is 10 pi. What is the area of the circle? So just formulas. Formulas. So what is the formula for the circumference of a circle? First, let's talk about what is the circumference of a circle. What is that actually representing? So if I have a circle, a perfect circle here. Oh, that was actually pretty good. So if I have a circle, the circumference is the perimeter of the circle, pretty much. It's the distance around the circle. Also, just perimeter is another fancy way of saying it. I know we usually talk about perimeters like squares, triangles, but circumference is the distance around. If you were to walk around the circle, that's the circumference. The area is that amount of space inside of the circle. So all of this space. If we had some sort of circular patio or something and we wanted to cover it with some bricks, like what would the square footage be of bricks that we need to go buy for that circular patio or some sort of area that you are covering up that is in a circle. So that'd be the area. So circumference of a circle, the formula for the circumference of a circle, circumference is equal to 2 pi r. 2 times pi times r, or another way of saying that is the diameter times pi. How do I notate this? I'll just say diameter times pi. That's another way of doing it. Now, what is the radius? Let's talk about that. Let me get rid of some of this highlighting in the middle here. So we have some key pieces of the formula. We have 2 times pi. Pi is just a numerical value. R is the radius. The radius is the distance from the center to the edge. So that's the radius. Where the reason I'm translating this from 2 pi r to d times pi, because the diameter is the distance from edge to edge cutting through the middle. So the diameter is just 2, the radius times 2, or just both radii, I guess would be the plural. But putting those together would make your diameter. So you could do either formula, you're going to get the exact same thing. So now we got to translate this into area, because we're given the circumference and we want to know the area. Well, what is the area of a circle? The area of a circle is pi, that's not a good pi symbol, pi times the radius squared is the area of a circle. Pi times the radius squared. Okay, so let's now substitute in some piece of information. We're given the circumference is 10 pi. So I'm going to, so they're saying C is equal to 10 pi. So I'm going to replace C with 10 pi. And I have the formula 2 times pi times r. What I don't know right now is I don't know the radius. But I can figure out the radius because I need to figure out the radius for the area. Like, that's the only piece of information I'm missing for the area formula. Area equals pi times r squared. I don't have that, but I can figure that out pretty easily by using the circumference formula. The only piece of information we don't have in the circumference is the radius. We're given what the total circumference is. We know the formula for circumference, so let's just solve for r. So I'm going to divide by 2 pi. That's going to give me the radius, because 2 pi's cancel out there, so just leave me with r. And then on the other side, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Pi over pi cancels out, so the radius is 5. So now I have my radius. Cool. Have my radius. Now let's get area. Area is equal to pi times the radius squared. So I just figured out that my radius is 5. So area equals 5 squared is 25 times pi. And typically we leave this answer as 25 pi, but you can convert this to an actual decimal value if you want. So we'll do 25 times pi, which is 78.54, let's call it. Normally the question will ask for exact, so 25 pi. Or leave in terms of pi will be the directions that you'll be given, or some sort of rounding, or it really depends, but I think leaving it like this is probably the most typical type of answer in that one. So this one's fun. I like these types of problems where you're having to like piece things together, almost like a puzzle. Like, all right, here's this information. Now I got to work to here, and you got to bridge the gap there. So I like these kinds of problems. That's a fun one. You got to use 2 different formulas. You got to understand the components of each formula. You got to understand what the language is. Like, what is radius? What is the circumference? And what is area? You got to understand all those components. So it's a fun scenario there.